Hey guys, welcome back to Electrical Car Repair Live. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing to the channel. Today will be super helpful video guys to any of you having a Kia Sportage, Kia Sorento guys. And if you have the 2.4 GDI engine, you need to remove or replace timing chain tensioner. Stay with us, we will explain how to do that. Now, it will require quite a bit of work to get to that point. Make sure to stay until the end and we will explain how to do that guys. You don't need to remove your engine to do that. You can do it with the engine being in your Kia vehicle. We simply have it out due to the fact that we'll be making hundreds of videos that can potentially save you thousands of dollars. And with the engine being out, we can clearly show you how to do that. It's never recommended guys to replace only timing chain tensioner. It's recommended to replace the whole timing chain kit. Whole timing chain procedure should be done in my opinion and according to the manuals, but some of you will attempt to do that, and we've done it in the past and you can do it, but we'll explain why it's a bad idea. Make sure to stay until the end and we'll explain how we can destroy your engine if you just do that. So this should work on Kia Sportage and Kia Sorento different years. For instance, they start using it in early 2012 all the way to 2016-17 depending on the market guys. That's a 2.4 GDI engine. So before we start, let me introduce you to the channel. Every single car we get at the garage guys, we take them completely apart and we make at least 200 to 300 free repair videos. Why we do all that? Simply because our mission in the shop is to save you as much money as we can. All we need in return, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, that way we can keep providing this free information to you. Also guys, if you want to buy parts or tools for a really good price and quick shipping as well, check out the link in the description of the video below and you can see where we get all our tools and parts from. Specifically, this is an engine out of a 2013 Kia that we'll be demonstrating on. And with that being said, okay, if you have a Kia guys or other vehicle, check our main channel Auto Repair guys. We have videos that have helped more than 120 million people guys, that can save you thousands of dollars. So let's start on it now. So this right here guys is a 2.4 GDI engine. We have it out of the vehicle with the cooling system, everything the way it comes from the vehicle, so we can clearly show with great detail okay what we're going to do, and we'll be having videos about rebuilding that engine and fixing almost anything on it. For any of you that ask me guys in the comment section below, recently we've been getting quite a bit of response comments to what do we recommend for diagnostics on these modern vehicles. That's the one that we use daily guys. It works on Kia and almost any car you can think of. Okay, let me just exit and I will show you right here. It's amazing too, that can pay itself off in one-time use. Check out the link in the description of the video below if you want to check the current price and the functions. Number one, we need to remove the upper engine cover. Grab and pull it out. It attaches okay to these 4 posts right here. What do you need to do next guys, okay, in order to remove the upper valve cover? You will need to disconnect your car battery. Let's explain why. Because you'll be dealing with the fuel pump here as well. You need to remove the high pressure fuel pump. So disconnecting the car battery can reduce the risk of catching your vehicle on fire. Also work on the engine when it's completely cold. On these modern cars, it matters which battery terminal you disconnect and reconnect first. If you do it wrong, you can cause damage to the engine computer and the electrical system. So if you don't know which battery terminal to disconnect first, we have a special video that explains that, and we'll put the link in the description of the video below. Once you do that, okay, we're going to disconnect the vacuum hose coming out of the valve cover, okay, right here. Perfect. Another one, okay, that we have, okay, we need to disconnect the PCV hose right here. Great. Next, you have the fuel line right here, the low pressure fuel line. If you don't know how to disconnect it, we have a special video that explains that on Warren Mechanics, how to disconnect fuel line. For the high pressure fuel line, 3/4 inch wrench, you'll be under pressure. Always wear gloves and eye protection. Why we don't ask guys, but you should. Okay, disconnect that. Okay, you disconnect that fuel volume sensor right here. Okay, great, just like that. And what you need to do now, okay, 10mm socket, and we need to slowly remove the pump a little bit on each side. You grab that fuel pump and it comes out. I recommend to inspect your tappet right here, the cam follower, because that's a weak spot on those sometimes, and that can develop an engine noise and rattle as well. So we'll get it out, okay, to inspect it later. Next, we need to disconnect that wiring harness that goes to the exhaust variable timing solenoid. We need to disconnect the wiring harness from the upper valve cover. Okay, perfect, like that. what we need to do next, we need to remove the ignition coils, so that those gray things, okay, check this thing out, you need to pull them all the way to the back, then you press in the middle, okay, and you disconnect it. So we do that to all 4 ignition coils, guys. Okay, so 10mm socket, we're going to disconnect that wiring harness that goes to the high pressure fuel pump. So that's what we're doing now. Okay, great. What else, guys? Now, this one, we can flip it, okay, on the side, so it's out of the way. At that point, okay, we need to remove the ignition coils. 10mm socket, just remove the bolt on each ignition coil. 4 bolts, 4 ignition coils. Or the other way around. 4 ignition coils, 4 bolts. Then you can just simply grab the ignition coil, okay, and pull them out. At that point, most of the final work is done. Now we need to remove, I think, 22 bolts, quite a few bolts, guys, for the valve cover. So we're going to start, okay, with the ones in the middle. Let's start here. Okay, you have bolts that some people easily forget, and one of them is hard to miss. This side right there. Okay, here this one, and we go to the outside. So now we're just removing all of the bolts. Make sure you don't drop anything in the high pressure fuel pump holder, because you'll go directly in the camshaft and that can cause engine damage. And careful not to drop your bolts too. Alright, you grab each one of the bolts, easily remove them, because if they fall you can easily lose them as well. We have 2 more for the fuel pump right here that we need to remove. Okay, and this one too. Now we have 2 more that we need to remove right here. Perfect. Now you will leak some oil out, be prepared. Ours been sitting for a while, so we won't have so much engine oil up here. Need to pull a little bit of room, okay, to get it out gently. Okay. Okay, perfect. This is, guys, a valve cover gasket. That's what the engine looks like as well. In order to remove the crankshaft pulley, guys, okay, there is a special tool that most people recommend to use, okay, because without it, okay, you can have a really hard time, okay, removing that pulley. Let me explain, okay, what the tool looks like. You will need to remove your intake manifold, remove the engine starter. We have the special video on the channel how to remove intake manifold and engine starter. Check it out if you need help with that. And then you have that special tool that goes where the engine starter is, okay, and it holds the flywheel so it doesn't move. The other tool, guys, that you can use, okay, it can go on the flywheel from underneath the oil pan, that you can use it as well. If you don't have any of those tools, I will not recommend to do the job, but what we use here, and again, don't need to do it, guys, okay, with the belt still installed, we get an air impact, okay, and with the compressor, you just are going to take it loose. Now, you will not be able to torque it correctly later, so I'll recommend still to get the tool, but we've done it multiple times with the impact. We haven't had a problem, but doesn't mean that you will not have one. So we pre-loosen ours already. Now that's the tensioner. We can go ahead, remove the belt, and once we remove the belt, we can continue with the next step to remove that that pulley right here. Okay, perfect, just like that. So let's go ahead, okay, get this one loose. It should be just almost like hand tight. The impact got it loose, so now we're going to go ahead, okay, and get it loose with a little impact now. Yeah, right there, and it came out. Now your timing chain will not skip or anything like that. It's not like one of those Mazda 4 designs where with the moment you take this one off, the timing is completely done, okay, and you should definitely follow timing procedures. No, this one is not, because that's a keyed pulley and you have key timing chain components you can see on the back side, okay, right there. So that's how we remove the pulley. Now next for the timing cover, okay, according guys, okay, to our experience and even almost any manual that you can find, you can remove the cover itself, okay, without removing the oil pan, but resealing it, okay, you may have troubles having an oil leak later. So it's recommended to remove the oil pan and then remove the timing cover, because otherwise you can easily, guys, develop oil pan, valve cover leak, timing cover leaks that you will have to redo the work again in the future, and you probably don't want to do that work twice, guys, believe me, because that takes quite a bit of work. So we'll go ahead next step and remove the oil pan. So now for the oil pan, guys, let's explain what we need to do right here. With the engine removed, we can clearly, guys, show you what we need to do. You don't need to remove your AC compressor. We'll need to remove, okay, the bolts right here underneath, the two bolts, okay, that hold the AC compressor, because they mount to this bracket that mounts to the timing cover and the engine block. And that mount will come off, will need to come off, because you have hidden bolts underneath as well. So 12mm socket, and we're going to remove the two bolts for the AC compressor there. Okay, check it out. Perfect, they're out. Now, next step, we have these bolts right here, again with the 12mm socket, big ones that we need to remove. We'll need to get an extension, and that's the one that hold the bracket, okay, you can see, in place. Let's go ahead, do that. Two, so we have, I think we have 4 bolts. Number 3 right there in the middle and 1 on the other side. Oh, almost. Perfect, that's number 4. Now that mount will come off, you can see like that. Later, make sure you stay until the end. We'll explain one of the best silicone to reseal it. That black one is terrible, I personally don't like it, and I'll recommend the one that the manufacturers use quite often as well, that gray one. Okay, it's my favorite, it's our favorite. Now guys, here we need to remove, we have actually 2 huge bolts with a 12-point socket, guys, okay. I think it's a 12-point socket, 2 of them, that actually those bolts, guys, they mount all the way in the engine block, and they're quite long. So we'll need to go ahead, remove those. You may start leaking engine oil. Now, we forgot to say, but you need to drain your engine oil before you start working on that. Make sure you don't have engine oil in the oil pan. How you drain the oil, okay, with the engine in the vehicle. Make sure it's cool. Remove the drain plug right here and drain the oil. We already pre-drained ours. That's pretty simple procedure. So again, make sure you drain yours. Then you get a 10mm socket, guys, and you start going all the way around. Okay, and we're going to start removing them, okay, all the bolts now. So let's do that now. We'll explain where every bolt is located, how many bolts you have and all that stuff. Some of those don't come out due to the fact that there is actually silicone sealant, engine sealant. So let me show you where we are. Okay, trying to visualize it now. That's over the transmission side there. Let me see if we can come on this side. Okay, removing these bolts now. Next, okay, let me show you where those are. You can kind of like see those here. On the back side we have the exhaust manifold and everything removed. We missed one right here. I can see it. Now that oil pan may be really stuck depending on the silicone and all that stuff, so ours started coming loose, but if it's really stuck you might get a screwdriver and pry it out once you remove all the bolts. Make sure all the bolts are out, otherwise you can break things. And later if you bend the oil pan, it's metal one, it's fine. You can always straighten it because it's metal pan. Okay, perfect. Now we'll grab ours. We shouldn't have too much oil left, just a little bit. Perfect. And okay, you can see the oil pan came out. Now the correct thing to do, okay, let's get the silicone, the sealant. I'll show you what we use. You need to clean when you're ready to install that oil pan. Clean everything here really good. Make sure all that stuff on the inside come out. Always apply on the inside, okay, and around the bolts a little bit as well. But make sure you have on the inside for sure, and go a little bit around the bolts. Clean the engine block and the timing cover as well. Clean everything with rubbing alcohol and make sure it's not greasy at all. It's super dry, clean, shiny. The oil pan as well, and that's the silicone that we use, the high temp gray silicone. That's amazing, guys. I'll put a link in the description of the video below where you can get it from. We use it on multiple BMWs, Porsche vehicles for a long time, and we haven't had any problems. It holds up to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a gasket maker or dressing as well. So you can see that's how you guys do it. So now the water pump, guys, right here, you need to pre-loosen these 3 bolts before you remove the belt. That's a good idea to watch the video before you do things, so you see what mistakes we make. But if you pre-loosen these 3 bolts with a wrench, when you have the belt, the pulley will not be spinning. Now we have the engine out, so we can clearly use the impact, which makes things way easier than having it in the engine bay, but it's still practically the same procedure. You will need to just get them loose before you remove the belt. Perfect. Now let's start with the hardware pulley, tensioner pulley. We need to remove those as well. We'll need to remove the mount for the engine mount. Now this one is actually this one was reverse threaded, guys, bolt. Okay, right here, that's a reverse threaded bolt. Okay, and let's go ahead, get it loose. Okay, let's see. Okay, perfect. Reverse threaded, just remember that. Great. You need to remove the pulley in order to remove the tensioner, because underneath it you have one 10mm bolt that you cannot get. That's a normal threaded bolt right here after that. So that's a regular bolt, but when you remove the tensioner, I want to show you one specific place where you should place it once you remove it, guys. Otherwise, okay, if you install it, guys, at the wrong place, later you have problems. The tensioner has one high spot. Let me focus here quick, right there, and it goes in that hole over there, so make sure you place it there later. Let's remove the bracket for the engine mount right here. So 14mm socket here, and we're going to remove 4 bolts. Okay, that's bolt number 4. Perfect. Now, since we have that 14mm socket, we'll keep using it, and those are 12. Those are 12. We need to get a 12 now. And all these bolts, the fat ones, they're with 12. This one you don't need to remove it. I think this one stays like that. We'll check, but we'll see. I think this one stayed. Perfect. Okay, all of them are out. Now 10mm after that, we're going to switch to 10mm. And there is one trick to removing that timing cover. Many people will break it, and we'll explain why. We used to break 1 or 2 in the past, so we learned that the hard way, and we want to share our experience with you guys. Okay, so looking at it, you have 2 metal guides right here, one over there, one over here. if you get penetrating spray, you can spray them and let them soak. Always try to apply a little bit of pressure where the guides are, okay, and wiggle it, because if you bend too much, that's aluminum that cracks super easily, guys. Ours came out easy, but you can have so much corrosion, okay, and so much silicone that it can be really stuck. Like this one, it has quite a bit of corrosion, you can see. Clean them good and lubricate them, okay, and wipe them again before we install things together. Every time you remove that timing cover, you need to clean all that silicone, guys. Clean it really good, scrape it really good, and clean it with rubbing alcohol. The same thing you need to do, okay, to the engine block and the cylinder head. You need to clean everywhere really good. And we use the gray silicone, which is amazing. We'll put a link in the description of the video below, guys. Once everything is clean, you're going to apply on the inner side of the bolts, okay, on the inner side of the bolts everywhere, okay, right here on this bolt as well. Don't forget this bolt, okay, and this one bolts, the inner bolts, go around, okay. Everything should be clean, apply, and you're ready to put it on, you can see. But that's how you guys remove the timing cover. If you need to remove timing chain components, remove cylinder head, or if you just need to fix an oil leak on the timing cover. So we got to that point, and you can see, we can clearly see the timing chain, okay, timing chain tensioner, okay, right here. This is for the main chain, for the camshafts and crankshaft. You have another chain for the oil pump and the balance shaft, and you have another tensioner right here. This one doesn't often fail, guys, okay. The one that mostly fails is this one. Now, in my opinion, it's recommended to do the whole kit, okay. Everything from start to finish, absolutely the whole kit, including the chains, tensioners, okay, and guides. But you can do it that way too. Why it's not a good idea to replace the tensioner? Because you may have a stretch chain, old timing chain guides, and just replacing the tensioner only, guys, you can jump the timing and damage your vehicle without even knowing it. So you don't want, guys, okay, that to happen. So what we're going to do now, okay, we're going to go ahead, okay, remove the spark plugs on all 4 cylinders, and we need to bring, it's important to bring cylinder number 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the middle, guys. Okay, up, that's up. So let's go down a little bit. Okay, let me see number 4. Okay, up now. Let's go. More. Okay, let's see which way to go. Okay, up, too much. Okay, let me see now. Okay. Come back now. A little bit. Okay, let me make sure that all of them are in. Okay, like that. They're in the middle, guys. Perfect. So that way, if something happens and we miss that tensioner, okay, the valves will not jump, okay, and hit the pistons. So what you need to do, you need to have a person that keeps a constant pressure, okay, on the timing chain, okay, on the timing chain tensioner. But to verify the timing, you still can verify later if the timing is correct, but not with 100% sure, and we'll explain why. Now right here, I'm going to get a screwdriver, hold pressure on the guide. One person will remove the tensioner, guys. Okay. And when you get the new tensioner, okay, what will be cool about that new tensioner, okay, let's say now you get a new tensioner, guys, okay, and I will explain to you how you can, okay, how you can actually compress that thing. Most of them will come compressed, and you have a security pin right here, but you have one tooth, okay, so if you open that tooth, okay, I can compress that tensioner, okay, to right here. Now we need to have a pin to hold it with, okay, you can see right here in that hole, okay, in that hole right there, you're going to put a pin and the tensioner will stay like that. So you can see I installed the pin, it's a little bit thin, but it still will work. So I'm going to do that, hold it here, you can see, and now we're going to install the bolts. Okay, one started, now doing the second one on the bottom. Perfect, let's get those tight. The torque specs for those, okay, we'll have them in the complete timing chain video, but I believe they were about 9.8 Newton meters. But verify the video for the timing chain replacement, guys, will have everything. Release the pin, okay, and now grab here and, okay, get all the slack out of the arm, tensioner arm, without cracking it, guys. Now, how do you verify if the timing is correct? Okay, you can still do it, but you will need to put the timing cover now. Okay, let's grab the timing cover quick. Okay, you're going to put the timing cover here. Okay, we're going to show you quick. Let's just align things a little bit. And now there is still no 100% assurance that it's correct, but we'll show you guys what you can do. There is one tooth that notch that's marked on the crankshaft pulley, so it needs to mark with the T right here for top dead center. So if we spin it, guys, we might need to put the bolt here. It will be easier, okay, to spin the engine with the bolt. We need to verify that it's a TDC point, and for every time, okay, the camshaft spins 1 revolution, the crankshaft spins 2 revolutions. So you have to make sure that the camshaft, you will have the teeth on top that are marked. You see, you have 2 orange dots. So we're going to bring it to, okay, right here. Up a little bit more. Oh, perfect. Like that. That's TDC point on the bottom. And right here, if you look, those are the marked ones. Usually you're supposed to have the time, when you install the new timing chain, you align the marked teeth, okay, on the chain with those dots. Now you cannot do that because the chain's been spinning multiple times, but right here you have 2 lines, one on this one, that need to be even and horizontal, okay, with what we have there, you can see, and ours are perfect. So that's how you guys remove and replace the timing chain tensioner. I do not recommend it. We will have a special video how to replace the whole timing chain, okay, kit, everything, so check it out. It will be on our channel, guys. Now every time you do that, I recommend to spin the engine by hand, okay, at least 10 revolutions, okay, to make sure that you don't hit pistons and valves, to make sure you don't damage your engine. Hopefully the video will be helpful. Thank you for watching and see you next time.